Will also filming a personal best.
800 metres freestyle.
You got on this heat. I'm recording.
So now the second longest of the men's events, the 800 metres freestyle.
0 for number 40, Silas Harris. Sitting lane 1 for Hallaberry, Tommy Lane. In 2, representing Miami, Alexander Grant. To lane 3 for Griffith University, Matt Horton. Out of lane 4 for the United States of America, David Johnston. In 5 for Griffith University, Lachlan Walker. To be in 6 for Manly, Oliver Signorini. In 7 for Sydney Olympic Park Aquatic Centre, Matthew Galea. Out of 8 for Trinity Grammar, Caleb Dreyer. And in lane 9, representing Carlisle, Kai Edwards. Present to you time final 1 for the men's 800 metres freestyle.
So it's the American David Johnston in lane number 4 here. He's got an entry time of 7:54.4. Lachlan Walker from Griffith University, 7:55.91. And Mac Horton's in lane 3, the gold medalist at the Rio Olympics in the 400 metres, 8:00.72. So we expect the race probably to be in that part of the pool, as you would expect, lanes 3, 4 and 5. And interesting to see what Horton will be doing here. He's gradually cut his distances back over recent times, but he's back here in the 800 metres now.
Yeah, as we mentioned in the call through the heats, in the short course version, especially in freestyle, you can see some swimmers extend a little bit further in distance than what they're used to. So we saw William Yang and Carl Chalmers swim the 200 free, and geez, Chalmers did a good job in that 200 free final earlier tonight, and we haven't seen him race the 200 free long course at all this year, and he almost broke the Australian record there. So now, as you said, with Matt Horton, he pretty much strictly races just the 200 and the 400 in the long course pool, but he is great in and out of these turns for a big guy with a long stroke, so I certainly wouldn't write him off in the short course 800 free. And there is a qualifying time for the Australian team to make the Australian team in this event. That's 7:45.0. So to me, can't confirm it, but I think that the men's 800 has been added to the World Short Course program for the first time, similar to the women's 1500 freestyle too. So Mac obviously thinks that he's a strong chance there, and just swimming off the feet there of David Johnston, the swimmer in lane 4 from the United States, the 20-year-old. We haven't seen too much from him internationally in the pool over the last few years, but he's a prominent open water swimmer, and he had a couple of good showings at the recent duel in the pool, especially in that broken 800 against Mac Horton. So Johnston really taking this one out aggressive, and this will be good for Horton just to drag him out a little bit quicker than what he's used to.
Yeah, so Johnston it is in front of Horton, holding down 3rd place. It's Alexander Grant, the 21-year-old from Miami, in lane number 2. I mentioned Lachlan Walker. He's in lane 5, but he's off the pace at the moment. He's back there in 4th place, and quite a distance behind the top 3 there. Johnston leading from Horton and Grant as they work their way through. This is the first of 2 time finals in the 800 metres freestyle. After this, we've got medley relays to come, the mixed medley relays to complete night 1 here at the Nationals, the Short Course Nationals, the Sydney Sprints Australian Short Course Championships for 2022. And isn't it great that we've got the short course events being staged once again after a 3-year absence? If you won an Australian title in 2019, you've got plenty of value for your money because you held it for 3 years.
Yeah, it's been a little while between drinks for the Short Course Nationals, and back into the pool. Really strong opening 350 for David Johnston. He's using a lot of legs early in this race, and he's looked at the lap counters a few times as well, but with that open water background, they're so used to siding boys and lifting their head up, it really didn't take too much away from his stroke at all. So they're coming into the 400 now, turning 343. Geez, that's a quick 400-metre split, and it's really dragged Mac Horton out quick, 346 at the halfway split. So they could be looking at something around well under 740, I would suggest, if they're able to hold this one. And this is a really impressive swim from Johnston.
It's interesting, we often see the overlap at World Championships, long course World Championships, between the 1500 metre races in particular and the open water races. We see Roman Chuk and Coltrineri and a whole lot of them who double up. But short course, it's interesting to see an open water specialist come in and swim short course as well, because it's so very different with all of these turns.
Yeah, it certainly is. And a lot of the open water swimmers from the US come from pool swimming backgrounds, especially if they're from the Midwest or from the East Coast, where the weather doesn't allow them to swim in lakes or oceans too much, whereas the Australian open water swimmers generally coming from a surf life-saving background or a pure distance swimming background. So they do turn out to be a little bit more skillful and better in the short course pool, or the short course yards pool as well, over in the US where they race the college system. So David Johnston having a really good swim, and coming in for second now, that's Alexander Grant, just narrowing the gap to Mac Horton. He's only about a body length and a half behind, so he's having a good swim in lane 2 from Miami. And again, there's a qualifying time for this team, 7:45.0, and Alexander Grant looks on track to get that qualifying time, which would be a really strong performance to swim his way onto the Australian team. So watch out for that race between Grant and Horton.
Well, this is a good lead, a very impressive and imposing lead as far as David Johnston's concerned. He leads in front of Horton, who is in second place. Grant holding down third, then it's back to Walker in fourth. Galea would be fifth at the moment, then Edwards in lane number 9. And after that, we've got Signorini, Dreyer, Lane and Harris. But it's the American visitor. The Americans have had some success here this evening. We've got a handful of international competitors, a couple from Great Britain, and saw a couple from Singapore, Japan, and a few Americans as well. Johnston doing a great job.
Yeah, really good job. Just 5 laps to go. So coming into this turn, he's got that last 100 metres still to come. So just looks like he's sprinted the whole thing from start to finish. Turning now at the 700. That time is 6:34. So comes home. Geez, he looks like he might even break 7 minutes 30, which would be a great swim coming into Sydney. So really good performance from Johnston. That world record, Grant Hackett, 7:23. It's stood for 14 years now. And David Johnston not going to be too far away. And that battle is coming. Alexander Grant's taking a lot of ground off Mac Horton in the battle for first Aussie.
So inside the last 50 now, and David Johnston just spread eagling the field here. Horton remaining in second place from Grant, and then Walker. They're turning for the last time now. It is David Johnston of the USA. His entry time, as we mentioned, was 7:54. Well, he's going to obliterate that time. He goes in now and he records a time 7:30.41. An excellent swim by the American. Second place, it's going to be Horton. Horton goes in second place, 7:39.71, and Grant finishing third. Only, around about half a second behind Mac Horton. Walker in fourth placing. And Galea, and we've still got Dreyer and Edwards battling out. A couple of others as well.
He's pumped with that one, Johnston. Must be an American record, I think, in this short course meters 800 freestyle, and 7:30.4. That's a world-class swim. And Horton just getting the touch over. A good performance from Alexander Grant as well, but there's the victor on screen. month with that one. He's had a good time in Sydney with some good performances at the Duel in the Pool, and now here at the Australian Short Course Championships in disbelief. 7 minutes 30. We'll see if he can get on that United States team to come back to Australia in December and compete for a world title in this event later on this year.
The Duel in the Pool was such a huge success. Great for the swimmers, great for the spectators as well. And that was in the last week or so. Here's the result. Johnston, 7:30.41, 7:39.71 for Horton, and 7:40.18 for Grant. Walker, Galea, Edwards, Signorini, Harris, Lane and Breyer in that order.
So just here with very, very happy David Johnston. David, new US record. You must be just so ecstatic.
Yeah, I'm really happy. This is my first short course meters race ever. And I saw the record before, wanted to go for it. And I just can't believe that this actually happened. I just want to thank everybody that's helped me along the way, from Neil in high school and Eddie Reese at Texas and Mark Schubert this summer and Swimming Australia for letting us come out here. It's been a lot of fun.
You don't race meters, short course especially, that often, so you got to make the most of these opportunities, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. I'm just here to have fun, not too much pressure. And now that this happened, I just want to keep having fun the rest of the week,
Just talk to us about Duel as well. You put yourself through the ringer there, some really tough racing. Do you think that hardened you up a little bit to come into this and produce a world-class performance?
Oh, for sure. Racing those broken stuff, I've never done that before, but seeing the crowd in Australia, it's been a lot of fun just feeding off this energy. Australia is a great place to race.
Well, dude, short course times like that, I hope you can send a message back to the US and see if you can be a part of this world short course team in Melbourne in December.
I would love that. That's my goal, and hopefully they take me. So, go USA.
Well, congrats on the US record. Well done.
Thank you. Shock the world, man.
There we go. David Johnston there from the US. New national record to him. So 2 national records tonight. One to Lani Pallister there in the 1500 freestyle. And now David Johnston, a US national record in the 800 freestyle. Behind the blocks now, we have the competitive